I'm not exactly sure if this is official or if it's even true, but it's just food for thought. They saying that Jon Jones' only career loss could potentially get overturned and made into a win. Welcome back to another one. Thank you for tuning in. We're gonna go ahead and dive into today's topic about them changing the rules to making the 12-6 elbows legal. At UFC Edmonton, they officially made it legal to where you could use knees to downed opponents right in the 3-point stance.
Yeah.
And you could drop the 12-6 elbows. I'm looking at bloody elbow right here, and apparently that rule went into effect on November 1st. And so since that card happened on November the 2nd, it was just in time for people to start implementing it, and we saw Cody Gibson was the first person to use the 12-6 elbows on Chad and Helliger, and I want to say Jack Shore used the knee to the downed opponent on Yusuf Zalal. Ironically, he ended up getting dropped with a legal knee and submitted after that, but let's just go ahead and get to the point here. I saw something on Twitter. I'm not exactly sure if this is official or if it's even true, but it's just food for thought. They saying that Jon Jones' only career loss could potentially get overturned and made into a win. How do you feel about that? Because I've only seen this from 2 or 3 sources, so I'm not saying it's true, but hypothetically, what do you think about that, man? Because this could be a precedent for something much larger, man, because if you start changing the outcomes of fights from years ago, you got to go back and look at a whole bunch of fights.
Not even that, but also giving more fighters the freedom to go back and appeal losses, because there have been a lot of losses that were controversial in the past. But how do I feel about Jon Jones? I mean, it's going to make him more scary. He's going to be even more scary. I mean, just think about his whole body of work and adding him being undefeated to his name. I mean, he's the GOAT now, but it'll just cement his legacy.
And it's funny because I always told you, I think that one of the reasons, and I think I heard him say this, his record not being undefeated up until this point, he never had to go into the fights with the risk of, I'm going to lose my undefeated record, because he had that one loss that was there. It was a loss that was controversial, and it was a disqualification of a fight that he was dominating.
Because of Jon Jones that's undefeated, maybe he loses to DC, maybe he loses to Alexander Gustafsson. It's a bigger gap than what it was,
and it's a more decisive loss. Like, it's an actual loss and not a disqualification in a fight you were winning around 10-8, right? So I think that having that loss on his record like that helped him not have to be thinking about, somebody's has to go. You know how that little thing they always say in boxing. So
yeah, that's a lot of pressure on fighters being undefeated, man, because then it's like you want to retire your undefeated and you putting pressure on yourself, and you may be taking unnecessary chances in fights and stuff. But
or just the pressure can get to you and you can cause you to, paralysis by analysis. But as far as the rule change is concerned, I haven't seen too many other fighters who lost by disqualification 12-6. So I think that the UFC and the different commissions who were involved in overturning this rule, they picked a good one. Because we know the UFC like to protect Jon Jones. We're not saying if that's a good thing or a bad thing. We're just saying we know that's what it is. And if they were going to change a rule, it's so funny that they changed the 12-6 rule, because Jon Jones is the only one, to my knowledge, who has ever lost by disqualification in the UFC from 12-6 elbows. So they go and change that particular rule to where now it's legal. And so now if we're going to go back and change one person's record who was disqualified from using that move, is Jon Jones. He is the only beneficiary of that rule change. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But then they add in the knee to the downed opponents. And I'm just thinking about this. Me and you've had conversations about the fact that a lot of fighters have been taking advantage of not being able to knee a downed opponent. We've seen a lot of fighters take advantage of that rule of not being able to knee a downed opponent. We've seen so many times where a fighter was getting destroyed. They got into their 3-point stance, and then all of a sudden the person couldn't throw the knee. And we've seen fighters take advantage of that. That was a long stretch of time where fighters kept doing it, and it was like, man, what are they? They are exploiting this rule, man. Do you remember what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. The Pio de Jan and Aljo, how that first fight ended pretty much around that time, like a little bit after. A lot of fighters started saying, he lost his belt by disqualification because of that knee. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of fighters after that, they started putting their hands down and getting their 3-point stance. And then it's wrong because every time it happens, the crowd starts booing.
Because they know.
And it's kind of messed up because you're a fighter, man. It shouldn't be a way out. It's almost like you giving yourself like a safety net in the fight, man. And it's like, no, you're a fighter, man. That shouldn't be allowed. But another point I was going to make is it's crazy how that's legal now. The 12-6 elbow is legal, but the oblique kick is still legal. And that's kind of messed up how they changed that. But then the oblique kick should be illegal.
You think the oblique kick should be illegal?
Absolutely.
That kick in particular, when you were doing some research, that kick is designed, man, to literally destroy your knee. And it's amazing how so many things were illegal. The 12-6 elbow is illegal. The knee to a downed opponent is illegal, but Jon Jones can go in there and kick you and hyperextend your kneecap and shred your knee up.
And I'm gonna give you an example on how I think it's wrong. Thiago Santos was never the same after the Jon Jones fight.
Yeah.
He had 2 knee surgeries. He had surgery on each knee, and he just never was the same after that. And we talking about a guy who fought for the belt. He arguably beat Jon Jones. And after that fight, he just was never the same, man, because who comes back from 2 knee surgeries? Nobody.
In MMA at that, I don't imagine Thiago Santos had a whole bunch of money, to just get the best surgeons in the world to go replace his knee, to replace his ACLs.
Yeah. Another thing I was thinking about too, the thing is, I know they changed this. I know Jon Jones if this is true, if this article is true, now he's undefeated. But I still think,
well, they're saying that, they should be changed.
We don't know. We don't know. Say it's 100% true.
This is some people from Twitter talking, so we don't know.
But what I was going to say is, let's just say they do change his record. They changed Jon Jones' record. He's undefeated. The thing is, he's still going to be known for certain things in his career. And there are certain fights that people gonna look at it and say he really didn't win in fight.
And it's funny you say that, because when I went to the comments, I'm gonna give y'all a source, man. I'm not saying it's the best source. It was just trending on my Twitter page. It's something about the Twitter page is called the Rumble Report. And the second one, this guy's name is Ruben Carter. So I don't know these people, but it was just on my Twitter. The reality is, when I go to the comments of those, because I was just doing some research to see how legitimate this was, people said, okay, now replace that Matt Hamill disqualification loss with the Dominic Reyes fight, or the Alexander Gustafsson, the first one, because those fights are very controversial. A lot of people feel like Jon Jones lost both of those fights very clearly, at least 3-2. And so,
you know what else this means too? This also means that this should be Jon Jones' last fight after Stipe.
100%.
Because now you got undefeated record. If you go out and beat Stipe, then now there's no chance you fight Tom Aspinall, man. No chance whatsoever. Because now your legacy is cemented.
Yes, I don't think it's a coincidence that Jon Jones is the UFC's golden goose. They've always liked him. They've always protected him. Which we're not saying if it's good or bad. We're just stating the obvious. And they've always moved mountains for Jon Jones and shown him favoritism for obvious reasons. That's one of the reasons we named our channel Greatness Personified, for people who don't know, is because me and you were having this conversation before we started this channel. And I said, why does the UFC defend Jon Jones so much? We were talking, I said, well, realistically, he beat all day people. He beat Rampage. He beat Lyoto Machida. He beat Shogun. He beat everybody that was there that was holding the organization up. And so you left with Jon Jones. So you can't let him fall, because then you lost all your other people. Then you lose the person that beat them. You left with nothing. And then you said, well, Jon Jones just Greatness Personified. And that's how this channel came to be. So we named this after Jon Jones. But with them changing this rule, that absolutely cements that there will be no Tom Aspinall fight. He's fighting Stipe. He's more than likely going to win. He's going to retire.
There was a video that Tom made on his channel, and he said that he's going to be at the Jon Jones Stipe fight, and he's pretty much going to be trying to persuade them to fight him next, whoever wins. And it's like, bro, don't show up, man. Don't even show up to the Jon Jones fight, man. Neither one of them guys want to fight you.
It's over for both of those guys. You could argue that Stipe probably don't need to fight ever again anyway. This is absolutely a mauling. This, in my eyes, is no different from Khamzat versus Nate Diaz. I'm getting the same energy.
But whatever happens after this might be a topic for a different video, but whatever happens after the Jon Jones and Stipe fight, during the post-fight interview, we need to know, okay, who's retiring, what's next. So then we can set up, okay, Tom, maybe he's fighting the winner out of Ciryl Gane and Volkov,
right,
for the actual belt.
Right.
But we need to put an end to this, man.
Jon Jones, he can't go in there, let's say, win, and then have the belt, and then we don't know, are you still fighting, are you not fighting, are you going to accept Tom Aspinall's challenge, or are you not going to accept the challenge? And we can't play this game where he just got the belt and holding on to it, and the division can't move forward. But then you saying that other people don't have the real belt, but then he got the real belt and he ain't defending it. And then the injuries keep piling up. You getting older, and luckily it's the heavyweight division, so it ain't like it's that much going on anyway. You got about 4 good fighters, and then you got everybody else. You know what I mean? So luckily there's that. It ain't like it's the featherweight division where there's always somebody. But Jon Jones is the GOAT, and he is who he is, holding on to the belt, and nobody else can have it. But then you're not defending it. Because I mean, it's been a while, man. The Ciryl Gane fight was what? How many years ago was the Ciryl Gane fight, bro?
That was minute.
I mean, it was so long ago, man. And Tom Aspinall has been defending the interim belt, and he defended the interim belt more times than Jon Jones defended the undisputed belt. So it's like, and then even before he fought Ciryl Gane, there was the whole confusion about, is he going to fight Francis and stuff? And it looked like he didn't really want to fight Francis. And then the moment Francis left, oh, I can step up and fight Ciryl Gane. Look, I understand he getting older. We made a video saying he shouldn't fight Tom Aspinall. But you got to make it definitive, man. Are you fighting? Are you not fighting? You got to put a nail in the coffin here.
You're wasting our time.
You got a great career. We know what you've done. Obviously, everything will be cemented, but